What's up, movie lovers? I'm Mike, and this is Gotta Love Them Movies. You guys, welcome back to Gotta Love Them Movies, your place to talk about the stuff that you love. I'm your host, Mr. Mike Brown. I'm here all the time, and you guys, today is a glorious, absolutely beautiful New York day. I went out this morning, got my Starbucks. Of course, I filled the cup with something else after I got back. It feels like fall. Today is like one of those beautiful days that, like, yeah, it's springtime, but it kind of feels like fall. Allergies are running amok, so of course I've got my allergy spray. I took some Sudafed earlier. Hopefully it's gonna open things up and I'm not gonna be coughing and sneezing throughout the entire show, and helping me keep my sinuses in check throughout the show. I figured that was a good segue. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Carter O'Brien Ford. Did I get it right?
You did get it right this time. Yeah.
I still rest back on my laurels that saying Carter Ford O'Brien has like a better cadence to it, but that's not your name.
It's fine. That might be my stage name. The more you say it, the more I want it to be my name. So,
Carter, how's Philadelphia today? What's going on with your bad self?
It's going well. I'm off today, just chilling. I might go to the art museum with a friend, so that's going to be fun. But yeah, I just went outside. It's really nice. It's a nice, yeah, it's not too hot. I hate when it's too hot. Everyone's like, I love summer. And I'm like, no, I love this.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know what else I love, Carter? Movies. If you guys haven't already done so, head over to YouTube and type in Gotta Love Them Movies. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button. Help us widen our subscriber base and get more watched content on the channel. That would be much appreciated. You guys, on Wednesday, St. Patrick's Day, we are going live on YouTube. This show will no longer stream on Facebook, the live portion. I've got some pretty big changes coming up in the very near future. So if you're watching, if you've been watching, if you're wondering like, hey, Mike's not doing his typical standard format, there's a method to the madness. Things are going to get crazy for a while. My apologies. But the whole show, the whole channel's changing. If you guys want to talk about anything in particular, send me an email at gottalovethemovies@gmail.com. We'll make your topic like kind of a main topic on the show. That will be what we talk about. Yeah. So if there's like anything that you want to talk about, any like movie news that you think that I missed, if you have any conspiracy theories about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, send me an email. gottalovethemovies@gmail.com. Okay, you guys, let's jump in. Today's topic, if you've been watching the show before, you know that we have like 4, 5, 6 different main topics each day, right? Every show. One of the changes that we're switching up is we only have one topic today. We're only going to have one topic per show moving forward. Now, that is subject to change. It's just something that I'm testing out for a while. We're still in our beta testing stages, see how this goes. So if you like it, give me a like. If you don't like it, well then clam up and don't do anything. Give me a like anyway, right? Cool. You guys, today we're talking about Gremlins 3. Now, Carter, you at the beginning or just before the show started, you said you've only seen the first Gremlins. You haven't seen the second Gremlins. Second Gremlins.
No, yeah.
It's not a bad movie. It's nowhere near as good as the first one. It just got weird and crazy and silly and ridiculous. This is Gremlins 3 is something that's been popping up a lot lately. We already know that we're getting on HBO Max Gremlins Secrets of the Mogwai animated television show.
Yeah.
Kind of goes back not quite 100 years, but like when do you remember the Chinese man that owned the store at the beginning of the movie? That's like he had Gizmo and whatever, the Peltzer guy.
Mm.
What's his bucket? Peltzer, the inventor. He took Gizmo and whatever. Adventures ensued, right? So the animated show focuses on this guy. His name's Wing. Sam Wing? I think his name is Sam. I'll have to double check that. So Wing and Gizmo, as like children, off in the Chinese countryside, they roam around. He's trying to reunite Gizmo with his family, and then like all these adventures ensue, and they encounter all kinds of various like ancient Chinese lore creatures and whatever. So that's cool. But we've also known like Christopher Columbus Christopher
Christopher.
In 1492 he wrote the script for Gremlins. So Chris Columbus, he wrote the script for the original Gremlins, he wrote the script for the second Gremlins, and now he has written the script for the third Gremlins. Of course, we also know Chris Columbus from like Harry Potter and Home Alone, whole bunch of stuff. He did an interview with Collider. Here, let me jump into this article real quick. So on Looper, they're talking about why it's the real reason Gremlins 3 is taking so long to come out, right? So Chris Columbus did an interview with Collider, and there was kind of an interesting point that he made. He says, "I would love to do it. I wrote a script, so there is an existing script." He goes on to say, "We're working out some of the rights issues right now. So we're just trying to figure out when the best time to make that film would be." Okay, cool. And that's kind of the end of it. Chris Columbus mentions that there is some rights issues. So we started looking into it. I started looking into it a little bit, and I went over these rights issues. First and foremost, you guys, let me just say, these rights issues are nowhere to be found. I've searched so if you guys know what kinds of rights issues there are, if you have any links to various websites or anything, please send them my way, because I was all over Warner Brothers. I was all over IMDb. I did numerous Google searches. I couldn't find anything that brought up specifically what are these rights issues. So I jump over here to IMDb real quick. If you go to the end credits of any of the Gremlins movies, which there are 2, it says that the movie is copyright owned by Warner Brothers. The story in the script is copyright owned by Warner Brothers. And all of the music contained therein, like the original score, the original compositions, all owned by Warner, one of Warner Media's subsidiaries, right? So on IMDb, under Gremlin Secrets of the Mogwai, the distributor obviously is listed as HBO Max, right? Now, let's jump back into this article from Looper real quick. Looper, they mention that they lost the rights, but then they got the rights. Sorry, when I say they, I mean Warner Brothers. They lost the rights at some point. They did not go into detail about this, but then they got the rights back. Was it Bloody Disgusting? Sorry, guys. Bear with me here for a second. Maybe it was Bloody Disgusting. They lost the rights, but then they got the rights back in 2019. This is... Oh, and also, right here from Bloody Disgusting, we know that Secrets of the Mogwai has been renewed for season 2. So that's one of the reasons that I have Bloody Disgusting up there. First of all, my apologies. I feel like I've been jumping all around this subject. I'm giving little bits of information here and there and everywhere. Hopefully we have a little clearer picture as to what we're talking about here. Carter, you are... you, like, having gone through film school and having gone through, like, some of these... It's funny because you went through film school inadvertently. I think that's kind of funny.
Business school. Business school specifically.
Inadvertently.
Specifically, for entertainment.
But, like, having some kind of insight into this world, into this region... what possibly could be going on in terms of rights issues, as Chris Columbus brings up? Because, like, if there's anything holding this back, first and foremost, we know that the first Gremlins was made for $11 million. It brought in over $200 million. So it just blew, like, anyone's expectations out of the water. The second film, it fell $10 million short of breaking even. So the second film obviously wasn't as big of a box office success as the first one. So I can understand Warner Brothers' hesitation, albeit 30 years later, to greenlight a third film. We have this television show coming out on HBO Max. It hasn't even debuted yet, and we already have a second season set up. Or rather, it's been renewed for a second season. Chris Columbus talks about there being rights issues, but as far as I can tell, Warner Brothers owns everything. If there is a rights issue, the only thing that I can think of is maybe distribution. But even then, if distribution is now split between Warner Media and HBO Max, well, guess what? HBO and HBO Max is owned by Time Warner, a subsidiary of Warner Brothers, or like it's the parent company of Warner Brothers. So like I don't understand what these supposed rights issues might be, especially like when it's the same people who wrote the script and directed the film and produced the film coming back from the I don't understand it. Can you offer any kind of insight here?
When you were talking, I was just looking it up a little bit more, and the thing that I was looking for specifically was who's in charge of the Dahl estate, like a Roald Dahl. Yeah, Roald Dahl. Because apparently the first movie had to credit him for the based on his book, even though it's based on the character, but they took things specifically from the book. So that was the way that I was looking to see if something had changed. Maybe they had a 10-year contract. Maybe they had a 15-year contract. Who knows? But there's all these different things where like you have to use a character when you rent a character or you license a character from somebody that has written it. You have to use that character within a certain time period.
Much like Spider-Man.
Like like Spider-Man, like the original Fantastic Four fiasco that happened in the 80s. Remember that?
Sure do.
Where they just made a movie because they were like, oh, we want to keep
94, but
these rights. Oh, 94, yeah. They're like, we have to make this movie as quickly as possible so that we can keep the rights. It could have been something very similar for Gremlins, where they could have lost the rights and came back. But the other thing that I was thinking about was because big businesses will split up their businesses so that each business counts as their own profit, right? So there's a very good chance that one of the companies under Time Warner owns the rights to Gremlins, while the other one does not. So when it comes to distribution, Time Warner can't just come in and be like, hey, I own both of you, just figure it out, because whoever it's being licensed from, which I assume would be the Dahl estate, unless they've moved past that. But I mean, those are just, I did, a minute and a half of Googling some stuff. And those are all my theories after a minute and a half of Googling some stuff. But but no, I mean, I find that very interesting. I will definitely look into it some more. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, because I don't think Chris Columbus might own the right. I don't even think Chris Columbus would own the rights to the name Gremlins.
I mean, the only thing that I can think of is because he was the one that penned the script, he might have written it into his contract that he has exclusive rights to hold on to the story. Like, he needs to be brought on as either like a producer or consultant or, future screenwriter for future installments. I mean, that could be built into his contract, but Let me ask you this here. It's been, 31 years since we last saw Gremlins on the big screen.
Yeah.
I believe it was 1990, wasn't it? Yeah, it was 1990.
Was it?
Gremlins 2, yeah.
I didn't see it, but I thought it was a little later, but.
So it's been quite a long time. So we're getting 2 seasons of Gremlins Secrets of the Mogwai, kind of an animated, fun adventure television series on HBO Max. Do you think Warner Brothers, because like if they really wanted to make this happen, they could make this happen. They have
Well, with money, yeah, but that's the thing. People are holding out on whatever reason they're holding out on something.
Right.
They're holding out on it.
If there are, if the distribution stuff, if like various, like as you say, kind of like rights, and like one part of the company says no, but like the parent company can't swoop in and say, but I own you both. If they really wanted to make this thing happen, they could find avenues to make this happen. If that actually is indeed what's going on there.
Well, it's not always like that either, because you could think about the two companies. Even if Time Warner tells the two companies to do something, and one's like, I'll do it for, this much money for the rights for distribution, and the other person says, I won't make this movie if you're going to pay them that much money for this. You know what I'm saying? So you could just be butting heads with either, the project managers of the HBO series and the movie, or you could be butting heads with the two CEOs of HBO Max and, and
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
Okay, but let's just say that they come to some sort of an agreement. And they're like, okay, we'll work this out, right?
Yeah.
The first film, like I said, it was made for $11 million. It grossed over $200 million. So that's an incredible profit that they made. The second film lost money. Do you think how likely is it, do you think, that Warner Brothers is putting out this animated series as a low risk entity just to kind of test the waters and see what kind of audience is out there for Gremlins before they greenlight a third film? Or do you think, based on the idea that, hey, 30 years ago, we lost $10 million on a second movie. Granted, we made $1 on the first film, but the second film lost money. Obviously, that is going to shatter the momentum to get a third film made. But it was also 30 years ago. Audiences have changed. Times have changed. We just saw the original actor Zach Galligan pop up in a Mountain Dew commercial with Gizmo, kind of reprising this Gremlins kind of fun, silly tropeness thing. It seems like it's in the social consciousness that we kind of want to see a Gremlins 3 film, but like, where do you think, assuming that there's no rights issues, or that they do get the rights issues figured out, how hesitant do you think Warner Brothers would be to make a third one?
I mean, generally, a lot of these studios don't seem to. You hear about all these focus groups that they do, but then I feel like the findings that they find make absolutely no sense in my head. But it does seem like, I mean, it's a business, so they look at the numbers and they just look at what they gained versus what they lost, and they're probably not looking at the first movie because they're considering this to be a sequel to the sequel. And if that didn't do well, then they're just looking at it mathematically as it going down. But yeah, no, I do agree with you. I do think that they're probably testing the waters with the TV series, because it is a little bit, it's low risk. It's just going to be on. And it's easier to count things on HBO Max than it is for people who don't want to spend money to go to the movie theater or do other things, and then people just pirating. Even people, I think I recently heard from a friend that there's like HBO Max and Netflix is getting more strict with passwords and things, specifically to get more people to do. Yeah, sharing, and then also certain websites now. Websites could do this for a while, but bigger websites like this one, I don't think could do this as well, are recording how many people are screen recording as well, and then, catching them. So, they just want to see the numbers, and the numbers are going to be easier to be seen on HBO Max than how other people pirate movies that are in the movie theater. But, I don't know. I mean, even when it does come to the rights issue, I didn't know about that happening to Gremlins 2, and I'm interested to see that maybe whoever did own the I was about to say mental rights. That's not what it is.
Intellectual rights.
What is
The
yeah,
IP.
the intellectual rights to the IP to Gremlins could have had a deal that the movie had to make a certain amount of money for Warner to continue to own Gremlins. So if Gremlins 2 went down, often people will make contracts that basically say you can have these rights back as long as we don't use them within the next 10 years. So if they didn't use them within the next 10 years, they might have just got the rights back, whoever does own them. It'd be, Roald Dahl, who wrote the book The Gremlins, or it'd be somebody else.
How likely is it that we might have any insight as to the specificity of those contracts?
I mean, when you say we,
the general public,
not much. No one. I mean, those things don't usually come out ever. Basically, somebody will come out and say it was solved, and then you can watch. I watch a lot of like foreign interviews because you find in different countries like different things come out than just in American publicity for movies. So they'll just say like little hints to like what was happening, and then sometimes you might find a director or executive who outs somebody else in Hollywood, but that's extremely frowned upon. So I don't think you would find out anything. If anything, if everything goes well, it might just be like we made an amazing deal with this company, especially when a lot of money is put in. If Time Warner has to buy the rights back, specifically the rights of the book The Gremlins by Roald Dahl, or from someone else who owns the name The Gremlins, or whoever they partnered with on Gremlins 2 when it lost that much money, they might make an announcement that they're doing some type of partnership, the same way that they did with Spider-Man. But it's not very common that you hear anything.
Question for you guys is Gremlins 3. First of all, I think we can all agree we want to see a third Gremlins film, especially in the way that Chris Columbus says that he wants to do it. He wants it to be obviously live action. He wants to do it with puppetry. We know that animatronics and puppetry, the technology has changed and improved so much over the years. I want to see it. I think you guys want to see it too, but question is, how likely do you think it is that we're going to see a third Gremlins imminently? What do you think these rights issues are? Like I said, Carter and I have our opinions and, based on what we can find, but maybe you guys have some insight yourselves. What do you think those things are? Let us know down in the comments section below. All right, Carter, thanks, man, so much for being on the show and helping us to just kind of like discuss and round robin this a little bit.
Sure.
Tear the mask off, just a bit.
Yeah, I wish there was more information. I love rights disagreements between studios. I find them so interesting.
Like I spent so much time last night researching who owns Warner Brothers, and and I actually pulled up the movies and went to the end title credits and all right, what is going on with the copyright? And I wasn't able to pull up hardly anything at all. So. I mean, they say there's rights issues, but I have no idea what those rights issues are.
Yeah, the only thing that I found when you were talking was that, and of course it was on Wikipedia, so I'm going to check later to see if it was real. But the only thing that I saw was that the original movie was credited to be based on the original book. And the book is just based off of old mythology and other things. So really, who does own the name Gremlins is, I think that's probably the biggest issue, actually. Just the name. That's what I think. I don't think it has anything to do with the script or anything. I think it's just the name that is probably the biggest issue.
Interesting. Cool. Well, like I said, Carter, thanks so much for being on the show. Thanks for helping us to widen this topic a little bit. What projects do you have coming up in the future, and where can people find you online?
Not much. You can find me on Instagram at CFordO, which is probably what kept confusing Mike, because it goes the letter C, F-O-R-D, then the letter O. But other than that, I'm just working on some solo shows. Who knows? I might be in a Fringe festival sometime soon. And and I'll be judging the Saturday competitions for social distance improv in their March Madness improv.
Taking my slot.
Taking your slot. So yeah, if you like improv, go watch that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much for being here, man.
Yeah.
You guys, if you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Christopher Columbus would want you to do. Not Chris Columbus. Because, man, this is going south fast. This is going south so quickly. You guys, we live in a weird, crazy world where everybody has their own thoughts and ideas, and sometimes those thoughts and opinions clash. So if you have an opportunity to infuse a little bit of kindness in the world today, please, I implore you, take that opportunity. Speak kind words to each other. And as always, in the words of Bill and Ted, be excellent to each other. I'll see you guys next week.